Hello and thank you for tuning into another episode of Higher Energetic Resonance Inspirations. My name is Carol May Whittick. This week the topic is surrender, letting go. Most would describe surrender as admitting defeat, which would bring to mind that something has overpowered you. However, surrender in the spiritual sense is a powerful act of faith. And in this episode, I'm going to share a story about my own experience of surrender and the unforgettable truths it's taught me. The practice that I've included this week incorporates conscious connected breathing, which is a powerful process, bringing awareness to suppressed feelings and releasing those, and also cultivates a sense of wholeness and connection. And this is paired with the Solfeggio Frequency 852 Hz, aligning us with the spiritual order of the world. A quote from Anne Landers: "Some people believe holding on and hanging in there are signs of great strength. However, there are times when it takes much more strength to know when to let go and then to do it." So I'm starting this week by telling a personal story about my own surrender. And about 3 years ago, I was going through a very tough transition in my life, and pretty much everything was in flux: home, money, relationships. And I had had to make some definitive decisions about people in my life who were not treating me well, and as well as I knew that I deserved, and it just seemed that they had no intention of ever changing the way that they were behaving. And in order for my own self-respect and for my own growth, I realised that I had to step away. I had to step away from that, and maybe forever. In stepping away, I was removing myself from my only support system, and that would mean that I would have to go through a period of hardship. Even though I was aware that things were not going to be easy initially, I really had no idea how hard it would actually be. And it was tough, and I hated it, and I hated that I was the only one that was suffering, or it felt like it, and every move that I made to try and make things better just seemed to create more problems and setbacks for me. And this continued for months, and I just had no clue of how to get out of this loop, and I was suffering mentally, and seriously, I just needed like a little bit of luck, just a slight uptick so that I could move forward, but it just never seemed to happen. But despite all of this, I still had a modicum of faith, and I had a true believing that this would have to end at some point. But at this point in time, I was still having to work my way through. I was in hell. And as the saying goes, if you find yourself in hell, keep going. And truly, what option did I have? And then one day, for some reason, I decided that I was going to stop trying to find a solution and get out of the situation, and stop using my mind, because it all seemed impossible to unpick using my stressed and tired human thinking. So I decided that I was just going to ride the situation, literally. I was just going to let go, and I was going to let God take over. While, of course, my external situation did not change immediately, what I instantly felt was a shift in my perception about where I was. While saying that I was happy about the situation is a total stretch, I did start to find some joy in it. And my outlook was, okay, I'm here now. Again, I know that I won't be here forever. And I'm going to take a more observational stance in this situation and admit the truth of where I am. It's like, yes, I'm still hurt. I'm frustrated. I'm ashamed that this is the state of my life at this moment. But I'm also going to consider what will come from this. If I get through this, the strength that I'm building, knowing that as hard as it is, it's not going to take me out. I won't allow this, and one day I will be able to tell the story. And also I was taking into account the lessons that I was learning about myself the aspects of life I'm seeing, people that I potentially would never meet, and the greater understanding of life, the life that I now have. Because even though it was heart-wrenching, like heart-wrenching in the terms of like literal heartache, and it was my lowest low, and in recognizing this, I was able to relate to people on a deeper level. It was almost like I understood when people went through levels of suffering that I only knew, as anecdotally. But now I was in the center of it, experiencing that for myself. And I knew how hard and hurtful things could be. And even though you're eventually going to move out of the situation, you have to live with every moment of that, every day, every hour, every minute, every second of the discomfort as you slowly creep your way out to the other side. And very few people really knew what was going on with me and what I was going through that time. But those who did recognized a shift in me and actually commented. It's like, what's happened? Like, as if things started to change. I'm like, well, no, not really. I'm still in the same situation, but I've just decided that I'm going to take a different turn on it. Like, at this point in time, I really don't think there's anything that I can do. So I'm just going to let go of trying to fix it from the inside. And when I was no longer fighting the situation, I just surrendered to it. And it wasn't that I'd given up at all. In fact, I was more determined than ever, but I wasn't in this tussle with the reality that I was in. From Nat Hahn: letting go gives us freedom, and freedom is the only condition for happiness. If in our heart we're still clinging to anything, anger and anxiety or possessions, we cannot be free. Pema Chodron: the happiness we seek cannot be found through grasping, trying to hold on to things. It cannot be found through getting serious and uptight about wanting things to go in the direction we think will bring happiness. We're always taking hold of the wrong end of the stick. The point is that the happiness we seek is already here, and it will be found through relaxation and letting go, rather through struggle. So what is surrender? Surrender comes when we admit we don't know, when the path out of our impossible situation cannot be traced, and we know that we can't control the situation. And we see how we've been looking too far forward into the future and how we're suffering as a result of it, because all we can do is make a comparison. It's like, I want this to be over and I want to be there. And then we come back to the reality of where we are and the frustration and the pain and the turmoil that we're in. When we surrender, we recognize how we've been looking too far forward into the future and suffering as a result of that. The most peaceful space to reside in is the present moment, because that's where our power is. And it's asking yourself, if I can find stillness here, and recognize that when your attention is in the now, all anxiety and fear disappears. And most of us understand that whatever our primary focus on is the creator of the reality that we experience. So my thoughts of panic and pain and planning for the future could only then create a perpetual state of pain and panic and powerlessness of not being able to bring forward my future. So it was a catch-22. So my only choice at that moment was to surrender and to connect to God, the universe, source. And the only action that I could take from that was just to have unwavering faith. From Lucas Mack: surrender needs courage. Courage needs faith. Faith needs surrender. And then through surrender, we are gifted opportunities because we have space. We're just in the now, and the now is still. We can hear the whispers of our intuition, but we just have to stop trying to control and know everything. And surrender can seem almost counterintuitive because it looks like there are things that need to be done. There's action that we need to be taking to get our situation changed. And just by letting go and letting God seems like you're just chilling and not actually moving forward. So it's frightening, but it's also very freeing. Bringing in my own experience, you feel a higher state of consciousness through spiritual surrender. It's almost like you're being carefree. It made no sense to others that I seemed unbothered by my dire situation at that point. But I'd found a space in the madness of it all where I felt held and I felt loved. And I was almost like a passenger and an observer of the situation as opposed to experiencing the pain of everything. Steve Mariboli, you must learn to let go, release the stress. You are never in control anyway. Eckhart Tolle, always say yes to the present moment. What could be more futile, more insane than to create inner resistance to what already is? What could be more insane than to oppose life itself, which is now and always now? Surrender to what is, say yes to life, and see how life suddenly starts working for you rather than against you. A.W. Tozer, the reason why many are still troubled, still seeking, still making little forward progress is because they haven't yet come to the end of themselves. They're still trying to give orders and interfering with God's work within us. From Sterling Hawkins, surrendering is difficult to do, much like getting into the practice of confronting the discomfort. The more you practice it, the more aware and present you become. So what is true surrender, and how can we be in a space to utilize the gifts that surrender gives us? Just thinking back to my process and how I made that decision. This is a time to be honest with yourself. It's a time to be honest with yourself about where you are in your life and what you're holding on too tight to, and trying to cultivate a solution that you're too close in the situation to be. And ask yourself, in the situation that you're in, is what is the worst that can happen? And just allow yourself to go to the worst possible scenario. And we'll see that what we're doing is we're holding on to fear. We have a lack of trust and believing, and we think that we're abandoned and that we're alone. And also ask yourself, are you concerned about how you may be perceived by others? And then recognize that trying to solve a situation with your mind is not bringing you any peace or solutions. Admit that you've reached the point where you're tired of fighting, and then take some time to be still and bring your awareness into the present and just notice where you are physically right now. So that with all the stress and the pain and the turmoil that you're going through and that you're trying to get away from, just pulling yourself into the awareness of your physical being, and slow down. Slow your breathing down, slow your mind down as best you can. And then just look around you in the environment that you're in, whether you're inside at home or whether you're outdoors, and just tell yourself what you're seeing. You know, I'm in my office, so I'm seeing a plant, I'm seeing a teapot. And just really notice those things that are here with you right now. And spend some time really contemplating what those things look like. You can just kind of cast your eyes around them and maybe even describe what it looks like to yourself. What you're doing is just pulling yourself right back to the moment that you're in at this point. And then close your eyes and use your awareness to move through your body and relax into the moment. Give way to any tension that you might be holding onto. And as you slow down, you'll realize that your body is supporting you in this moment. And bringing your awareness right into the total presence of your being and the present moment of your being, you'll see that you are being supported. And then you can start to feel gratitude, knowing that at this very second, despite all the chaos that is outside in your life, everything is well. And then spend some time meditating on that, thinking about that, feeling the rising of gratitude and joy. And then when your meditation is over, you can contemplate or journal on what you've just experienced and take your time with this and just really imprint everything that you're feeling so that you know you can return to that sensation should your mind and your emotions go astray, because they will, because you're not out of the situation that you're moving through, but you're surrendering and you're getting a memory imprint of what surrender is on a physical, emotional, spiritual level. From Lao Tzu: when I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. And my final thoughts are that the most powerful thing I learnt from surrender was the confirmation of a connection to a source that was always there underneath all the stresses and disappointments, because the minute I pulled in, I felt the core truth. Surrendering for me was setting down the things that got in the way of me remembering and leaning into that. And as I said at the time, it was a total leap of faith, because my external situation was actually quite urgent and pressing. Despite all of that, I realised that true strength was in surrendering and was in letting go. Eric Michael Leventhal: we are at our most powerful the moment we no longer need to be powerful. From William Booth: the greatness of the man's power is the measure of his surrender. From Debbie Ford: surrender is a gift that you can give yourself. It's an act of faith. It's saying that even though I can't see where this river is flowing, I trust it will take me in the right direction. Thank you for listening to this episode. Thank you for allowing me to share my story with you, even though I didn't share all of the details, but that's not really overly necessary. It was just about just changing my state, changing my perspective, and falling back into something greater, or a greater aspect of myself, and giving the wheel over and letting it be known that I don't know what to do right now. All I can do is let go and surrender. If you want to reach out to me, you can email me at info@carolmaywhittick.com. My website is carolmaywhittick.com, CarolMaywhittick.com. Carol May Whittick on Facebook, Casmic on Instagram, and Her Conversations and Inspirations on Telegram. So I leave you with this practice. Take your time, enjoy, let go. All is well. Take care. Awakening and embarking on your spiritual journey is a magical yet daunting experience. This is the beginning of self-discovery, of healing, of individuation. It is a transformative, lifelong undertaking. As you grow, you will discover the true beauty of reality, nature, and the soul of others. Your curiosity will blossom. There will be a new perception of what is possible in life, as latent abilities, intuition, manifestation, and your clear senses are activated. Over time, you will find yourself drawn to like-minded and heart-centered people. This practice incorporates conscious connected breathing. This is a powerful process that transforms us physically as more oxygen enters our cells, emotionally as it brings awareness to suppressed feelings, and on a spiritual level by building a sense of wholeness and connection. The solfeggio frequency within this track is 852 Hz, that aligns us with the spiritual order of the world and is in tune with our higher selves. For this practice, you may choose to be seated or to lie down. Conscious connected breathing is a powerful and transformative breathwork practice. And for this practice, we will start by practicing just 20 rounds of the full breathing. Over time, as you feel more comfortable and get used to the sensations that this invokes within you, both physically, emotionally, and spiritually, you may then feel confident to expand the time that you spend practicing. So first, be in your body. Bring your focus back to yourself. Let's just take a deep breath in through the nose and filling up the body. And just release gently through the nose again. Take another deep breath in through the nose. And exhale again. And just continue to breathe in and breathe out, regulating your breath, calming yourself. And I explain a little bit more about the method of conscious connected breathing. Conscious connected breathing is going to be practiced when we practice the full practice with our mouth open, which differs slightly from many of the practices we've done before, where we breathe in and out through the nose. The idea is to create a circular breathing, a conscious, connected, continuous breath. When we breathe in, we'll be breathing in and filling from the belly all the way up to the chest. You want to fill up as much as you can. And then the exhale is more of a release than any force placed upon it. So imagine when you're breathing in more breath, more energy, more life force into the body. And the exhale is just about letting go, so everything falls out. Let go of all that doesn't serve you, any blocks, sadness, fear, grudges. So let's just practice that continuous breath through the nostrils for 5 breaths, and then I'll guide you 20 breaths through the mouth. We breathe in and out. 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 Relax for one moment. One thing you may want to envisage during this is the waves on an ocean. Imagine standing at the edge of a beach and just watching as the water comes in and comes out. There's no stop, it's just a continuous moving backwards and forwards. And this is the same sensation that we want to connect and create with our breath. So let's do this now. Through the mouth, 20 times, breathing in and breathing out. breathe in, out, 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 and fall into your natural breathing pattern. Notice the sensations that you may feel within your body. You've taken in deeper breath, more oxygen in the body. Feel how that invigorates the body. Feel where that may have alerted you to an area of blockage that needs some time to let go. It may bring up some emotions from you, a stored memory that you have suppressed for a long time that you may want to explore further. You may feel euphoric, bright, alert. You may feel nothing at all. This is your practice, and whatever you feel is right for you. The track will continue to play for you to maintain a meditation, for you to ponder the new awarenesses you're feeling in your body and in your spirit right now.